LSU football has been blessed at the quarterback position over the last few years. It started out with Joe Burrow, who was a Heisman Trophy winner, a national champion, and a #1 overall draft pick, and then these past 2 years, they've been blessed with Jayden, who was insane in 2022, and then won the Heisman in 2023, despite his team losing multiple games. And now, Garrett Nussmeier is the next man up. He's a blue-chip recruit who's waited his turn, but the guy I want to focus on today is their backup quarterback, AJ Swann. Many people don't really know this, but Swan was one of the highest-rated quarterbacks to ever go to Vanderbilt, has shown a decent amount of potential when he has started there, and legitimately could be an option for the Tigers in the future. Will he play this year? Probably not, but Swan is one of the most insane backup quarterbacks in college football. He's one of the higher-rated transfer quarterbacks, but instead of going to a place where he could start right away, he decided to take the hard approach and go to LSU. Today, I want to introduce Tiger fans to who Swan is, or to talk about his journey so far, and what kind of impact he could make at LSU in the future. But before we get started, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you want to support today's video, and let me know what player, team topic, or situation I can cover next. Now, let's talk about AJ Swann. In order to understand who he is, we need to first go back in time. While at Cherokee High School in Georgia, Swan would break out as a sophomore as he tossed 2,400 yards and 20 touchdowns. He'd improve on that as a junior, throwing for 2,500 yards and 23 touchdowns, and led his team to an 8-3 record and plenty of new offers. He would eventually decide to make his collegiate decision as he would commit to Mike Locksley in Maryland, and that final list also included Colorado, USF, Virginia Tech, and Tulane. He ended up being named an Under Armour All-American and was also a finalist for the Elite 11 quarterback competition. In total, he threw for 6,900 yards and 65 touchdowns during his career and started to blow up a little bit more to the point where he was considered a 4-star recruit. When he committed to Maryland, he was only a 3-star, but eventually he had a change of heart. After being a long Terps commit, he will now play in the SEC, as he announced he'd be flipping to Vanderbilt. Why the Commodores? He said, quote, "The new staff and coach Clark Lee have a lot of faith in me and what the program is capable of. Since I was a little kid, I grew up a Georgia fan, and it's always been a dream of mine to play in the SEC. I kind of want to flip a program around and try to get my name out there and show what I'm about. The SEC is the best place to do it and the best conference in the country." Also, when he committed to Maryland, it was during the 2020 craziness, so Vanderbilt had offered him right before, and he couldn't really get a chance to really feel it out much. He was talking to them before he committed, but once they got back in contact with him, he went and visited, went for the UConn game, and then fell in love with it from there. This is one of the biggest commitments in quarterback history for Vanderbilt, as it's probably up there with Kyle Shermer, and according to 24/7 Sports, Swan was a 4-star recruit, the number 23 quarterback, and the 402nd best player in the class of 2022. So how did he end up doing in Nashville? Well, as a true freshman in 2022, he appeared in 9 games, and eventually started 6 after Mike Bright and Ken Seals both got benched. In total, he threw for 1,200 yards with 10 touchdowns and 2 picks, and became only the second true freshman in SEC history to throw for 4 touchdown passes in their first career start. He also completed a career-high 27 passes for 281 yards against Ole Miss, and Swan had moments of brilliance despite Vanderbilt not having many good receivers and not much luck in general. Swan had a significant amount of hype going into 2023, and he would end up being the starter. He'd start all 6 games in which he appeared in, including his first 5. He ended up throwing for 1,500 yards with 12 touchdowns and 7 picks, and 11 of those touchdown passes came in the first 4 games of the season. He'd also appear in their season finale against Tennessee, but muscle between that was a couple of injuries. So far, his time at Vanderbilt has been plagued by injuries. He suffered a concussion in 2022, and then an elbow contusion in 2023. He missed 6 games in 2023 because of that, and he's just not been able to be fully healthy and complete a full season. In his 2 years with the Commodores, he threw for 2,700 yards and 22 touchdowns with just 9 interceptions. He also missed plenty of those games and would decide to enter the 2024 transfer portal. When it came time to pick a school, he chose the LSU Tigers over the South Carolina Gamecocks, and he will now have 2 years of eligibility, plus the opportunity to redshirt, which he could do in 2024. As a transfer, he was considered a 4-star transfer and the number 30 quarterback in the portal, and he will now go to LSU with the hope to maybe start, but it probably won't happen. This is because Garrett Nussmeier is already there, and he has more experience, has put up better numbers, and has earned the trust of the coaching staff. But Brian Kelly said it's an open competition, and he brought in AJ Swann for a reason. Will he be an insurance policy, or is he a guy who could actually start? I would honestly say that Swann's probably get a redshirt this year and be the backup. He can still maintain his redshirt and play in 4 games, and if an injury happens, then he'll be thrown into the mix. It's Garrett's team, and there's no reason to think that AJ will take over. In terms of the other guys on the roster, they'll have redshirt freshman Ricky Collins, and he may get a couple opportunities to play in garbage time, and then after that, they have true freshman 4-star Colin Hurley, who's hopefully the future of the LSU program. Brian Kelly's thoughts about this were as follows, quote, "It's very similar to last year when Jayden came back, but we gave Nuss a fair shot at competing for the starting position. Nuss pushed it, but Jayden was better. We'll have the same situation this year when AJ has a chance to take that job from him. It's not a closed position, and we are transparent with him. Nuss knows that too. We're going to be honest and open about the competition, and you don't bring in a guy who started at Vanderbilt and say, listen, you're coming in but you have no shot. That doesn't make any sense, and Nuss knew that too. So yeah, it looks like Garrett Nussmeier is the guy, and AJ Swann will likely push him. Maybe Swan's some superstar in the making who comes out of nowhere, but likely not. He's likely the backup quarterback who will redshirt, and then hopefully battle it out with Collins and Hurley and any other transfer they bring in 2025. It'll be interesting to watch, but in my eyes, LSU is one of the most insane and crazy backups in college football. He's a guy who's one of the highest rated quarterbacks in school history and has shown significant flash starting for a Power 5 program, but has settled on a backup role. It's crazy to me. But what do you guys think? If you're an LSU or Vanderbilt fan, what do you think of AJ Swann, and who's another backup quarterback I could profile next? I like to do these kind of videos, so be sure to let me know down below. Leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.